Okay, so I just spent, well, it's been about 14-ish hours, well, 15 hours. And the sleeve is printed, and good news, it works. Every feature works. Bad news, the Duel Blade proper is now permanently attached to my sleeve because this is too strong and cannot allow. I cannot get the Duel Blade out of it. However, I don't see that as a downside at the moment because I can't think of any other features I would like in this other than maybe making this a little bit less strong. But everything works. All I need now is to compensate for some minor print issues that occurred during the print, which is that I printed it in this orientation. So these dividers here have a little bit of sag in them. Now every single, as they are now, my life point counters can actually fit in every single one of these, all 10 of these tracks, right? But it's a little bit tough to push them in and out. And that's because of that sag. So what I'm going to do is I need the sketches. I'm going to go ahead and take my life point counters and I'm going to change it slightly. I'm going to change this from 9, how about 8? Okay. And if this is 8, computing, etc. Okay. Now if I bring back the body, the life point body, what is the distance but here? Whoops. Sketch. Dimension from here to here, 0.627. Okay, I would like that to be 0.8. So I'm gonna go back into the life point counter sketch. It has to be less than 9, more than 8. If it's 0.627, I need to add 0.2 to both sides. So 8.4. Alright. So now if I make this sketch here and measure this distance here, I get 0.827. Good. That means I'll get at least 2 lines out of this edge here. Next thing I need to do, very quickly, very simply, go into my bodies and invisimify the sleeve. I'm going to round off the tab here. This little. Can I make it 1? I can make it 1. Okay. And because I'm rounding things off and because it's easier to get things done when I round things off, I'm going to round off these as well. Okay. This is now smaller. And because it's smaller, it should be easier to fit them into my Duel Blade, or my Duel Blade sleeve, rather. I wonder if I can get away with them being 0.6. Probably not. They are flimsy with 0.4, but but they aren't going to be destroyed very easily, especially when so like I kind of slowly destroyed the one that I had been testing with, but that was because I kept on playing with it outside of the sleeve that it was supposed to be in, and I kind of bent it a lot because I was just messing around with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and should I round off all of these corners? Oh, interesting. Hang on. Hang on, let me just... I have to... profiles... Okay. Gonna go ahead and cut out those little things, because that's going to cause issues in the G code, maybe. It probably won't. That's probably the, no, it's not, actually. I was going to say that was probably the result of the way the font works, but it's not a result of the way the font works. It's a weird artifact from how I... Okay. Now, if I want this to be 1, if I want the thickness of this to be 1, I can probably get away with that, but 2 would be a little bit squished inside of it. I'll save this as is. I'll save this here. Actually, bring up the sleeve. Then I'll take the life point counter, save this. Yes, replace it. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and get this sliced, and then I'll get it printed, and then I'll have to print it again. And then again, and then again, and then again, again, and then again. Because I'll have to have it printed 10 times. Because there are 5 digits per side and 2 sides. Also, the reason there are 5 digits is because in Yu-Gi-Oh! You start off with 8,000 life points, which is 4 digits, but you can gain life points. So you need to be able to have the 5th digit in case someone gains like 10,000, gains to the point where they have like 10,000 life points. However, I have never heard of anyone getting more than 99,999 life points in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's hard to get life points in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's hard to gain them. It's easier to lose life points than it is to gain life points. Which is also actually why the numbers go in the direction that they do, right? When you start off, you're going to start off with 8 here, and then as you lose life points, it's going to go up and further in. Right? So as the game goes on, you're going to spend... yeah. It might have been better to do it the other way. No, because then you'd have to start off with all of them out. Yeah. So yeah, this is... I'll get this printed, and then I will... I'll get this sliced, I'll get it printed, and then I'll show them working. Okay, so now I'm going to slice my life point counters. Okay, I gotta lay this flat with this one, center it, bring it up above the build plate. 7 minutes, let me see. Oh, okay, yeah, this can't have a brim. It shouldn't have a raft either. Just a skirt. Okay. Let me see the walls real quick. It's got optimized wall printing order, outer before inner. I'm gonna click outer before inner. That'll help it print more easily, because when it does inner first, it has a lot of weird retractions and crap. Watch. I'm gonna unclick it real quick and play the preview. And watch what it does. It does weird stuff. I don't understand the algorithm that Kira uses for like finding paths, but like it doesn't make sense to me, because like I don't know. It seems pretty simple in my mind to just go, this is a path, do this loop, this, and then go back around and then do the outside. You know? So this is what it does when it does inner first. Now, it is pretty optimized on account of it being them all being connected. So that's pretty nice. But because it's one big long string, right? It's going to have a tendency to want to curl up on either end. So it really shouldn't do that, right? Like, it's kind of funny because, like, yeah. And then it's doing the outside, right? So if I skip through it, it does the outside of all of them, and then the very outside. Now it's doing inner infills, and then filling in the gaps. And then it goes to layer 2, all the way up to layer 15. So yeah. Now I'm going to click on outer before inner. Now this is going to be interesting, because it's going to do those parts first, right? And so that should keep it from wanting to curl up, right? Because these parts aren't going to want to curl up as much as one big long string would. So that should hopefully keep it stuck down better. I am going to save a version outer before inner and inner before outer just to be safe. So that's layer 1. Layer 2 is much the same. Right? And then layer 3 is where it starts to do just the then layer 15 up to layer 15 and see what layer 15 does. It'll take maybe 12 seconds to do layer 15. Now, something that I'm not sure if I should do or not, but I'm going to do anyways, is multiply this. Now there are 5 of them. I don't think that's a good idea, but like, I get impatient. But the trouble is, now that's a very complicated first layer. And if one of these curls up, it's going to get snagged, and then it's going to screw with the other ones. So I don't know if this is a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to put a new folder in here. LP counters. And then I'm going to do outer 5-piece. Not before E except after C. Yeah, okay. And no. Now I'm going to uncheck outer before inner. Go down to here and play it real quick. And it's going to do this one. And that one. 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now I'm going to save this as inner 5-piece. Alright. Save this as inner 1-piece. Then click on outer before inner. And save as outer 1-piece. Okay. So now I've got the G-code several different ways. One of those ways ought to work well enough. So I'll get it printed eventually. I'm probably going to end up having to babysit every single version of this, but yeah. I'll go ahead and print these out now. Okay, so I printed out all 10 slips for the life point counters, and surprisingly, both prints worked first time. It's probably because I clicked on that outer walls first setting. That is probably what did it. That really does help to get a really complicated first layer to stick, you know. It's a little bit more difficult for the camera to read this through the camera, but it really does say, it really is very clear in real life. The camera just sucks because it's, honestly, the filament is really shiny. That's probably why, but that says 7100. Now it says 7000. Now it says 8000. Now it says 8030, 8040. 8140. That says 8640. 8940. 8950. 8956. 8959. 8950, 8900, 8000, 0, 20,000, 30,000, 0, and it works on the other side exactly the same way. So the easiest way to use this would be to slide it out like this and to push it in with your thumb like this. These tabs prevent it from going in too far so that you can't reach it. That's their primary purpose. You can use them to like tug on it a little bit, but don't do that. That's not a good idea. You can get them to like about 6 probably. And then it's not going to want to cooperate, and you shouldn't force it. You should just choke up on it and be gentle, because this is very, very thin and can be bent very easily. But yeah, this is done now because it has got all the features I needed. Also, the shininess of this brown filament makes it look almost like metallic, almost like a copper color. Or at least a bronze, and that's pretty cool because like copper is my favorite element, so that's pretty neat. yeah, so this is done because it has all the features it needed. It has a better way of keeping your hand so that it doesn't interfere with the rest of the play zone, or with the play zones. It has a life point counter. It goes on the wrist. That's about all it needed to do, and it didn't even need the life point counter. I just added a life point counter just so I can have all the features that the official toy has. And now that I have all the features that the official toy has, if you include my dealer, right? Let me just go get that real quick. All right, so here's the dealer. Put that on. Put on the blade. Tighten the blade first so that I know where to put the dealer. This one is a little bit more top heavy than my previous sleeve design had it. And that's of course because it stands a little taller. Now I'll put the blade about thereabouts. I'm gonna hold my arm down on the table and tighten up the blade here. Open it up. With all of this, I have not only all of the same features that the official dual disc toys have, but more. I have a slot for you to put your hand. It's 2-player compatible. It is compatible with modern rules, and it is in a slimmer package than the official toy. This makes me better than Japanese toy makers. That is my conclusion.